Your desire is my command. Yes, me too. And I got the feeling at the end there that it saw us, was aware of us, whatever you want to call it. Could have just been my imagination, I suppose. What do you think? You know how some people want to be right all the time? Me, not so much. I guess one thing is certain at least, isn't it? It's official. This is a blight.
What say you? By all means. Again? Well now, what might interest you, I wonder? Shall I describe the stages involved with Lanthrax poisoning? I watched a man go through all 7 once. Haha, you have rather macabre tastes, I see. I like that. Let's see, how about the largest battle I ever took part in? That would have been the slaughter of Prince Azrin. Did you hear of that down in these parts? Me? Not personally, but I did take part in the attack. Prince Azrin was 4th in line to the throne, you see. He started off as 11th, but worked his way up the old-fashioned method by inheriting control of an entire Crocel from his grandfather. After assassinating his way through the royal family, the king hired 3 other cells to take down Prince Azrin once and for all. I was in one of those cells. Antivan royalty is very much bound up in the Crows. You wouldn't want it run by a bunch of commoners, after all, would you? And this means they get involved in politics quite often. This particular fight nearly bankrupted the nation, I understand. It almost ended up putting a Crow on the throne, a commoner. But that's a whole different story. I played a very small part. My part in the entire battle was taken up trying to reach Princess Verina, who had thrown in with her brother. I killed about 11 of her guards personally before I got knocked out of a window. I landed in the river and nearly drowned. I was fished out by some urchins who robbed me blind. Made off with my boots, too. At least they didn't cut my throat. And that was my part in history. Haha, it's true. I live a charmed life. One of the prostitutes that raised me was a fortune teller. Said I wouldn't die young. She was rather startled by that. But there you go. Tale told. Let's be off before I tell more embarrassing stories, huh?
I was just thinking about what happened to the elves, and I'm reminded of a song sung to me many years ago. It was when my mother died, and this wise elven woman comforted me and told me that we shouldn't fear death or hate it. Death is just another beginning. One day, we must all shed our earthly bodies to allow our spirits to fly free. It's a beautiful sentiment, I think. One that brings peace and hope to the grieving.
Just leave me alone, Warden. Seriously. Upset? Ugh. I don't get upset. I get drunk. Did you want to talk about something? What about? You get a sword or an axe, and are told to go out and defend your city. It's the best thing in the world. That is until you try to live in the city you saved. I mean, they train you to kill, teach you to harness your rage at the first noise you hear, then try to set 100 sodding rules about it. Like those provings. Ancestors show their favor through the strongest arm, right? So why so many rules saying how to fight, and when you win, and not to bloody kill? Killing's what swords are for. You toss a nug to a deep stalker, you don't expect it not to eat the thing, right? This makes me cranky. Don't you have any other inane questions? All right. Aye, all right then. I got a moment, sure. What about? All right. Aye.
Thank you so much. Yes, you led me to an errand. You persisted, even though I was sure all you were going to find was a dead end. I will never be able to repay you for what you've done for me. Finding an errand allowed me to bring that chapter of my life to a close. I feel free. A great weight has been lifted off my heart. This moment, it feels like the moment before the sunrise, when all the world is still, holding its breath, waiting for first light. I can stop thinking about my past and look forward to the future. Thank you, my friend. You will always have my gratitude.
I am listening. It doesn't have better things to do. I like to think of them as accessories. I suspect that it is an art that was practiced when golems were more, commonplace. My former master collected whatever lore he could find on the subject. He searched far and wide to collect what crystals he could and then added them. It is not an unpleasant sensation. So I would assume. My former master enjoyed poking around the ruins in the deep roads after all, and bartering with others who did. As I understand it, the crystals allow me to alter the flow of magic around me. Wilhelm had hoped to turn me into a battery of mana, something he could tap at will. Some of the crystals increase the presence of mana, some absorb or reflect spells. There are various kinds. All I can promise is that should it ever find one of these crystals, I can likely tell it the function and what it would do if added to me. Why not? I don't get to wear clothing and other adornments like the rest of you creatures after all. That answers its question, I assume? Unless it has more. Did I not already tell it that I do not remember doing such? I remember having a master. My memories of what happened to him are vague. Clever and true. Oh, very well. Let me see what I can recall. My former master enjoyed experimenting upon me. I remember that much. There was tinkering with spells, and then the crystals. He was very eager to alter my function, I think. Flattery, and obvious flattery, too. I feel warm and fuzzy inside. He possessed my control rod, and back then, it would have prevented me from doing anything he did not command me to, no matter how I might have wished to. So what happened? I am unsure. He was experimenting, and then nothing. And then he was gone. I was standing where I was, in the village, and I could no longer move. The villagers came, poked and prodded me in fear, and then realized they could neither move me nor destroy me, so they simply left me. And in time, I forgot I hadn't stood there all along. In fact, at first, I found it more of a relief. For so many years, I'd had to leap to that little toadstool's every command. Get this, pick up that, put it down, pick it up again. The gall! At first, I'd hoped he'd simply decided to leave me there paralyzed, an acceptable trade-off. After years passed, I simply stopped caring. I think I was ready to move on. Another few years and the moss would have covered my face, and then where would I have been? Whatever the mage did seemed to render the control rod useless, for which I should be thankful, yes? And provided it doesn't decide to copy his experiments, not that I would allow it, it is nothing to fear from me. Much. So I have come to realize, if that was not the case, I would have gone elsewhere by now. Doesn't knowing that make it feel good? Let us get back to the walking and the fighting. My stone is beginning to itch again.
What comes, my friend? So, full of questions, are you? Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be? Sometimes I do wonder the very same thing. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience. No doubt such a tale has mutated much over time and telling. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire. As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her. The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the bard, and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conobar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conobar the jealous lord who looked on from afar. Lord Conobar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed. The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement. All would have been well had Lord Conobar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge. That was not the point. Conobar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conobar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conobar's allies chased Flemeth, you see, chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies. The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began. I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has colored her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all. The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her. You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one, and these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed, so should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too. The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well. How often is this usually? Always? If not always, then when is it not true? There are more things in this world and the next than you or I could ever hope to understand. What Flemeth became is a mystery. I suspect, even to her. Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless. Ah, then you have my sympathies for what it is worth. Which is very little, I am certain. It matters not. Let us move on.
and your friends are formidable folk, indeed. I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods.
Yes.
Indeed.
Concentrate, like we practiced. Now, fire!
Twisted creatures! Ah, Denerim. If we have time, I would like to look for Marjolaine. We have a score to settle.
All men are the work of our Maker's hand. From the lowest...
Though stung with 100 arrows, Those soft...
Without provocation, the least of its children are bred. And accursed by the Maker.
Those who bring ham. The Maker does not bread sinners. Puppy! Puppy!
Would you stop correcting me? I know the chant like the back of my hand. As there is but one world, one life, one death.
Take this. You've earned it. Good to see you again.
My client appreciates your generosity.
Welcome, friends. Welcome to Wade's Emporium. We have the finest armors in Denerim, maybe in all of Ferelden. How may we assist you? Certainly. Welcome back. You looking for fine art? No! No, he can't.
Did I hear right? You are a woman. You have drake scales? Look at this, Heren. It's real. Some never see a single scale in their lives. I must make this. Tell the, customer, is it? I'll drop everything to work on this immediately. It will take however long it takes. Don't rush the masterpiece, my good lady.
Yes, that's right. It could take months, years even. You should just leave.
It won't take that long, Heren. Unless I did some inlays of... Oh, I know.
Yes, it wouldn't be complete without the, inlays. Of course, the customer would have to agree.
Cost. I should be paying you, friend, for the right, no, the privilege.
Pay him? No, Wade, no. We'll charge you.
I'll hear nothing of that, Herren. This is my shop, and working on Drake's scales won't cost a bloody Orlesian penny. Excellent. You won't regret it. Think of the possibilities, Herren. Think of it.
I'm trying to stop.
You here to report another crime? I swear we should just cordon off the entire district. Oh, can I help you, Warden? The lower market isn't deemed important by the captain of the guard, even less with Al Howe in charge. So when I finally get the new men I request, I get the delightful surprise of discovering their Lord Such-and-Such's illegitimate, untrained, moronic whelps. But lords keep sending me more of them. It's decent pay, no expectations, a uniform. So I have a legion of bastards to protect the market from pickpockets, stabbings, and whatnot. And Al Howe's specially picked men are the worst of the lot. With the bastards, I just have to worry about dicing, the odd bit of drool, or yelling at them too loudly and hurting their poor feelings, and then getting chewed out by their noble fathers. But I swear, the Arl's men are more criminal than the miscreants we occasionally arrest. Some of them are the criminals we have to arrest. So if your lifeblood isn't draining in the gutters as we speak, don't bother reporting it. Your likeness was passed around to the senior guardsman at the palace. I must say, the sketch didn't do you much justice. Don't worry, even if I believed the official story of what happened at Ostagar, I'm no fool. If I asked my men to apprehend you, they'd all run and cry big sobby tears in their courtesans' bosoms and leave me all alone to be skewered. Don't disturb the peace in the market, and that's well enough for me. What? You're serious? I mean, yes, I could use help. I've got a pretty popular, establishment that's crawling with mercenaries. If I send my boys in, someone might get, maker forbid, hurt, and I'll have to explain to their noble fathers that being a guard is actually dangerous. The name of the whorehouse is the Pearl. Beat down any mercenaries that are out of line and send them a message. I said beat down, not kill. Let me make that really clear. Not on fire, or exploded, or make a nose, whatever type of grisly death you can dream up. Sorry. Used to giving orders to my boys. Just leave them breathing and I'll be happy. Thank you, Warden. Happy hunting.
There were crazy stories about Redcliffe. You hear about that? Something about the dead rise. As if we don't have enough already.
Yes, make it quick. Strange. Let's see this. I knew it! I gave that man the best 7 weeks of my life. Well, I guess he won't have me to push around anymore. Ha!
Welcome to the wonders of Thedas. We carry items crafted by the Circle, as well as a variety of antiquities. Is there anything you would like to see?
Ooh, glass slippers.